John Brennan, your reaction to this dilemma. I want to get into the specifics of the intelligence reports, but before we do, is there something? Do you see something? Do you recognize something in the propaganda style of the Trump White House with other regimes you've studied over the years around the world, where they want to get attention away? They want to get the people's attention away from the most damaging possible story about that regime, and so they try to create other such stories.
Well, good evening, Lawrence, and you're absolutely right. I have observed this type of behavior in authoritarian leaders around the world for many, many years. This is, taken right out of the authoritarian's playbook, which is that you try to create a distraction from the challenges and problems that you face on the domestic front. And sometimes you point to other domestic issues, or you point to external enemies. And I think Donald Trump has had a history now over the last 3.5 years of being, unfortunately, masterful as far as trying to distract attention from the issues and the problems, many of which that he has created or made worse. And so I think, as Jelani said, we have a track record right now that has demonstrated that Donald Trump not only is unable to address these issues, but just focuses on what he can do, what other new shiny object he can throw in front of his base and the American public as a way to distract from those issues that really are challenging our safety, our security, and these days our health.
And let me go into some of the details that the New York Times has revealed about where this story stands as of now. The administration produced a memo, hasn't been made public, but the New York Times is reporting on that intelligence memo, and I want to get your reaction to it, John Brennan. So the New York Times is reporting that a memo produced in recent days by the office of the nation's top intelligence official acknowledged that the CIA and top counterterrorism officials have assessed that Russia appears to have offered bounties to kill American and coalition troops in Afghanistan, but emphasized uncertainties and gaps in evidence, according to 3 officials. The memo said that the CIA and the National Counterterrorism Center had assessed with medium confidence, meaning credibly sourced and plausible, but falling short of near certainty, that a unit of the Russian military intelligence service known as the GRU offered the bounties, according to 2 of the officials briefed on its contents. John Brennan, what is your reading of what can you glean from the public reports about this intelligence so far?
Well, first of all, I wonder why this memo was only written now in response to press reports, as opposed to being written several months ago when these reports first came in, so that they could be provided to the White House and to senior officials. But it seems as though this memo was cobbled together by the Office of Director of National Intelligence as a way to address the issue, and also highlighting that there is some dissent within the community about the credibility of the reporting. But let me tell you, based on my 30 years of experience in working in the intelligence community and national security, the Central Intelligence Agency and the National Counterterrorism Center are the premier all-source analytic elements of the U.S. government that have the greatest capability and expertise to evaluate something like this. And if they say that they have assessed with medium confidence, that is a pretty strong endorsement that this intelligence appears to be very credible. And that's why it's incumbent upon the White House, the National Security Council, the National Security Advisor to do everything possible to mitigate the threat to our troops. But I think, again, it's clear that, it's in some respects strange that we're still debating the question about whether or not Donald Trump would do anything that a normal president or even a normal person would do in these instances. He does not take his job and responsibility seriously. And unfortunately, it is putting the lives of American women and men who serve in uniform in the country's service at great risk.